Hi everyone, this is Gary Wilson and welcome to tonight's live training webinar for the Investor Agent Training Program. And also we do have other people who've been through other training programs here. One of them came through the how to buy rentals. We've got some people on who've learned how to buy flips. There's specific programs just for those subjects. You don't hear about them a lot, but they're out there. In any case, so we have a special guest tonight, Seth Greene, and I'm going to introduce him here in a second, but I want to make sure everybody here has pencil and pen ready and paper ready. And I'm going to let Seth introduce himself. I've known him for a while. By the way, Seth has done work for me on my own Facebook account. So I have personal experience with this subject and with Seth. And I'll tell you briefly the way we met each other. I was at a Dan Kennedy event, who's the grandfather of marketing right now, sitting in the back, and this guy comes up and sat next to me. And we're sitting there talking. I didn't know who he was. We're just talking. We're swapping contact information. All of a sudden, Ron LeGrand says, Seth Greene, come up. Dan Kennedy says, Seth Greene, come up here. Seth was being nominated for the first of 3 years in a row for Marketer of the Year. And I had just sat next to this guy. So obviously I called him up and said, hey, man, can you show me some of what you're doing? And the rest is history. So Seth, welcome aboard. Thank you so much for doing this. And I'm gonna turn it over to you, Seth. So let her rip and introduce yourself. Tell them why you're here, what you're all about. And Seth, by the way, are you going to give people a way to get a hold of you should they choose to contact you after, when this is over? Or
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, go ahead and take it and run with it, Seth.
All right, I remember. It's funny. I remember that we were sitting next to each other talking, and Dan says, Seth, stand up. And it's funny because I wasn't expecting the announcement at that point in the conference. It was like the first day, the first session of the first day, and it was supposed to be like at the end. So fortunately for me, I was mobbed the entire conference of people who wanted to talk to me, including you, and I'm glad it worked out. I'm happy to serve your audience and share what we did for you, what I've done in the real estate space, and how they can do it for themselves. So I am here tonight to share with you how to get your marketing message in front of the exact right potential buyers and sellers. So let's dive right in. You are about to discover the exact same process I used to sell one of Gary's apartment buildings, the exact same process I used that became the subject of a best-selling book that sold I live in Buffalo, New York, so not a large city, not a hot real estate market, and I was able to, using this process, get 100 people to my open house and start a bidding war and sell my own property for well over asking price in under 2 hours. And all the realtors who came and the real estate agent who was representing me said, how the heck did you do that? So I'm going to share with you exactly how I did that. I hope that's all right. I also promise that I am not here to sell you anything. So don't worry, there is no giant pitch coming at the end where I ask you to pull out your credit cards. I hope that's okay with you. This is, all content. So let's dive right in. So why Facebook? If you had told me, because that's what we're going to talk about tonight, if you had told me 5 years ago that Facebook was the place to be, I probably would have laughed. I know that's heresy for a social media marketing guru to say, but 5 years ago, Facebook wasn't anywhere close to what it is today. And I'm going to share with you what the big difference is and why it's so important in your real estate business. Whether you're an investor, an agent, or an agent investor, you want to pay close attention and take good notes. So if you are like me, you have a stack of these in your wallet. For those of you who don't know what these are called credit cards. Hopefully everybody here has heard of a credit card by now. And Visa and MasterCard have a contract with you. They swore to you when you signed up for their credit card that they would never sell your data. And they told you the truth. But if you go into your local Starbucks, you swipe your card, the cashier swipes your card through a little terminal that looks like this or that's built into the cash register. Now, Gary, I'll ask you, do you know who the name of that merchant processing company is that's swiping your credit card?
Well, I know one of them is the one I use that's called First Data. It's one of the ones I use.
Right, First Data is one of them. But on average, does the cashier tell you who they are?
Oh, no, nuh-uh.
Of course not, because the credit card processor, unless you're processing credit cards and like you're in the business, but unless they do not have a relationship with you, the credit card processing company has a relationship with the merchant, like Starbucks. They have no contract with you as a consumer, so they can do whatever they want with your transactional data. They can sell it. And this isn't new, and I wish I got to take all the credit for it, but I don't. And it's what got me nominated first for Marketer of the Year, is that this data has actually been for sale for about 30 or 40 years. But you could only buy it for direct mail. And it costs so much money that in order to make it cost effective on a like per user basis, you literally needed to be mailing like 1 million letters a month. And if you could mail 1 million pieces a month, this data became cost effective and it could make your marketing explode. The difference in why everything has changed is now that data is for sale for social media and it's available in real time. So what that means is if you go into Starbucks tomorrow, then on Friday, I can put an ad in front of you if I'm a local coffee house saying, hey, if you like Starbucks, you'll love our coffee because you just bought a cup of coffee 24 hours ago. So privacy is completely dead. As a father of 3 little kids, it scares the whatever out of me. But as a marketer, we're living on this, and that's why the time is now, because this Facebook data isn't that old. Most people, I'm assuming on this call, don't even know you can do this yet, and it works so much better than anything else. But again, before I dive right into that, I'll give you a really, really quick bio of who I am, why you should listen to me. As Gary mentioned, that grumpy guy standing next to the right of me is Dan Kennedy, who's been kind enough to nominate me for Marketer of the Year 3 years in a row. I've written 6 best-selling books, Real Estate Marketing Magic, Cutting Edge Marketing Magic, Financial Advisor Marketing Magic, Online Marketing Magic, The Facebook Ninja, and Podcast Marketing Magic. And I've been featured all over real media like the Wall Street Journal, CBS Money Watch, CNN, NBC, Boston Globe, Miami Herald, and a few others. But I did not start out that way. Honestly, I went to Syracuse University for undergrad, and my undergraduate degree was in acting. My life goal at the age of 18 was to be a Broadway star. That's what I was going to do with my life. And my senior year, 2 of my friends and I decided we were going to produce a murder mystery musical that was interactive. The audience got to choose the ending. So we formed a student organization, and we went to the student government, and we gave them a budget, and they gave us the money, and I was a producer. And everything was going great. 6 weeks before opening night, my phone rings, and it's the Student Government Association, and they said, you have to come in, we need to have a meeting, we need to talk. And if you've ever had anyone call you and say, we need to talk, it's usually never good news. Your spouse, your significant other, your boss, nobody ever says, we need to talk, I love you. They say, we need to talk, let's be friends, or I want a divorce, or you're fired. So we went to the meeting, and they said, we made a mistake. The bylaws of Syracuse University do not allow a first-time organization such as yourself to receive that much funding from the student government. I said, okay, what does that mean? And they said, well, we have to take half of your budget back. And I said, you can't take it back. I have sets being built. I have costumes being sewn. I have, 40 sets of parents flying in on plane tickets for opening night. And they said, no, you don't understand. We froze your student government account. We already took half the money back. We're just letting you know. And my friends and I went back to my apartment, and obviously we're very upset about this, and I had 2 choices. I could either cancel the show and disappoint everybody, or I could find a way to raise the money. So I came up with this brilliant idea. If you've ever seen the movie Top Gun with Tom Cruise, you'll remember there's this bald, cigar-chomping admiral, and he says to Tom Cruise, son, your ego's writing checks your body can't cash. That's what I did. I said, guys, I got a brilliant idea. I have all these pre-approved credit card applications on my dining room table. Why don't I fill them out? I'll charge the show. We'll sell tickets, and we'll pay the debt back off of our ticket sales. And if there's any money left over that we still owe, you guys can go get credit cards, give me a balance transfer check, and we'll all take a third of the debt. And they said, that's a great idea, Seth. Go do it. And I did. Except I knew nothing about marketing back then. I hadn't found Dan Kennedy. So we didn't sell enough tickets. So we had a substantial debt credit card bill. And I went to them. I said, okay, guys, we're graduating. You got to go get credit cards and hold up your end of the bargain. And they went to their parents and asked for permission to go get credit cards. Their parents said no way and left me stuck holding all of the debt. So what I thought at the time was the worst day of my life, I had to go Chapter 7 bankrupt because I couldn't pay it back. And sitting in that courtroom listening to the bankruptcy trustee go, "You spent how much money on a musical?" Didn't go over very well. And I literally couldn't imagine anything worse at the time. So I had borrowed a bunch of money to gamble on something I knew nothing about and lost. So I thought a good career choice would be to go become a financial advisor, so I could help other people avoid those mistakes. So I went to work for a Fortune 500 company that has since been bought out twice, so they don't exist anymore. And there were 6,700 advisors when I started. I was 6,699th. That means I was one up from the bottom. Until, in my spare time, I found I am a professional magician, and I was reading a magic magazine that had a full-page ad for a marketing course for magicians in it. And I got my parents to buy me that course for my birthday because I didn't have the money. And I implemented the course. I learned the marketing, and I became the most expensive, busiest magician in Western New York where I live in 30 days. So I went back to the guy who sold me the course, whose name is Dave D., who some of you know, and I said, "How do I do this in my real job?" And he said, "Dan Kennedy." So I went to Dan, and Dan said, "You're making 300 cold calls a day, you're interrupting strangers, you're mass mailing seminar invitations, you're doing everything wrong. Write me a really big check and I'll change your life." I mean, his pitch was better than that, Gary. You know it takes all day long,
Yeah.
but I'm shortening it up. So I went home to my wife, and I said, "Honey, 12 months ago we got married. 9 months ago we bought our first house. 3 months ago we had our first baby. And 2 weeks ago you quit your job to be a stay-at-home mom, and I am our sole breadwinner, and I'm making 300 cold calls a day for a living. I need to go borrow a ton of money to go hire you know how much he costs. I need to go borrow a ton of money to hire this guy Dan to change our lives." And she said, "You told me a story about you borrowing money once, and it didn't work out too well, so I'm going to say no." So for 30 days in a row, I asked her the same question. And the third day, she said no. And gradually the no's got more intense. There was some profanity mixed in, which I won't repeat. But on day 31, she said, "You better pray this works." So I hired Dan. And in the first 2 years of working with Dan, he quadrupled my revenue and took me from one up from the bottom to the top 30 advisors in the country nationwide for opening new accounts in 2 short years, which was unheard of in financial services. It got me written about in the industry's #1 trade journal. It got me written about in 3 best-selling books for financial advisors, and I was riding high. It worked. So I said, "Dan, what do I do now?" He said, "Start a marketing company and do this for other people." So that was 8 years ago when I started Market Domination LLC. It was me, and I had 1 marketing client and another financial advisor. And what happened was I applied the marketing principles I had learned to domination, but without a sales prevention department behind it. And we took off. We are the fastest growing privately held marketing firm in the country now. And I have an office building full of an amazing staff, and we have hundreds, if not thousands, of clients. I've lost track all over the globe, literally all over the world, all the way up to Fortune 500 companies. So let's dive into the Facebook stuff and how it's going to work in your real estate business now that you know a little bit about me. If you're not taking notes, please start, and this is the first thing you want to write down if you haven't written anything down yet. Facebook is not a social network. Facebook is an ad agency. Facebook is an ad agency. Facebook makes no money off of having 1 billion people sign up for a free Facebook account. Facebook only makes money by serving them ads on their news feed and having them click on those ads and go to Gary's website or watch Gary's video or attend one of Gary's seminars. That's the only way they make money. So stop thinking of them as a social network. Start thinking of them as an ad agency, and I'll show you how using that knowledge will totally change your business. Hopefully everybody is ready. So I mentioned that credit card data is relatively new. So it's like the wild, wild west right now because nobody's doing it. And I guarantee you that no real estate agent or investor in your market is probably doing it either unless they're working with us. Wanted to show you the obligatory picture. This is my wife, Rebecca, on the left. Lily is our 3-year-old in the middle, Max is 8 on the right, and Ella is now 6 on the left. Those are our 3 wonderful kids who keep me very, very busy. And the bigger reason why I do this beyond them is I do not think the government is going to save us. You cannot tax your way to prosperity. I think entrepreneurs and investors are going to save the world. So every month I make micro loans through kiva.org to about 700 different third world entrepreneurs to help them get out of poverty. So that's my why. That's why. Those are the 2 reasons I get up in the morning: my wife, my kids, and trying to save other entrepreneurs. So what is different? There are lots of, if you're a realtor in particular, there are a million Facebook companies out there who will do Facebook marketing for your real estate business. And I'm not here to sell you that. I'm just here to tell you what's how what we do is different. Some of the most common myths I hear when I talk to investors or real estate agents about Facebook is they think, well, it's not going to work for me. I don't have that many fans. Or I'm going to lose money doing this. Or I can do this on my own. And there are valid concerns to all of those that we're going to talk about. But first, I want to address with you the 5 keys to success on Facebook. And again, you want to write these 5 down. The first one is you need to post every day. It doesn't have to be a novel. It doesn't have to be paragraphs. It could be on Friday that there's a picture of fall leaves and a have a good weekend. It shouldn't be about real estate every single day of the week because people will eventually get bored and unfollow you. They'll unfriend you. Because if all you ever do is talk about yourself and what you're trying to sell, I mean, is that your ideal friend, Gary? If you go to a cocktail party and all the guy does that you meet is talk about himself,
right?
Do you want to hang out with him?
Not for the whole night, that's for sure.
You're like, okay, enough already, buddy. Shut up and ask about me.
Yeah.
You want to, if you don't have that many fans, it doesn't matter where you're starting. We have clients who literally had no Facebook presence when they hired us. But again, I'm not here to sell you anything tonight. You want to grow your fan base with what we call a cheap light campaign in front of your existing customers. If you have existing customers or clients, you can take their email list and upload it to Facebook as what's called a custom audience, and then you can run ads in front of all those people on Facebook based on their email addresses. So you can run ads to them, getting them to like your page. Like my page if you like real estate. Like my page if you love having your money compound, or I'm making this stuff up as an example, but that's all it takes to get someone to like your page. Like this page for free real estate tips, or if you want to see great deals in Loudoun County, click like this page. Then once your list is uploaded to Facebook, Facebook will do something called building a lookalike audience, where Facebook will go find everybody else who meets the same criteria as your existing customers. In essence, you're cloning your customers, and Facebook will then say, why would they offer this service for free? Because the next thing they will say is, would you like to run ads to all those other people? Because that's how they make money. And yes, of course you'd like to run ads to people who look exactly like your existing investor clients because you want to get more of them. Or if you need tenants for a property, do you want more tenants who look exactly like your most beneficial, paying rent on time, taking care of the building? Do you want to clone those people? Absolutely you do. And then when you are posting every day, you want to run, and I'm going to show you how to do all this. We're going to get to it. You want to run what's called a page post engagement ad. When you do a post on a Facebook fan page, Facebook pops up this little blue button called Boost Post. Don't ever, if you take away one thing from this, don't ever hit Boost Post. It's a giant waste of money. Facebook will spend whatever money you give them as fast as they possibly can, not targeting your ads at all. And as we talked about, the targeting is what makes it work. And then, of course, you ultimately want to make an offer. My offer was to come to my open house, which was only going to be for 2 hours and only on this day, and we were going to sell the house this day, and all offers had to be made that day, and anybody else was missing out. So I ran that ad in front of lots of people in Western New York who met my ideal client criteria. So my house was my first house was a 3-bedroom ranch. It was really close to shopping, close to Thruway, in a good school district, in a quiet neighborhood with tons of kids in it. So I ran that ad, and I'll show you how, in front of moms of 2 kids who lived in the area, but they were fans of the school district Facebook page, but they didn't live in the school district yet, but they lived nearby. So I knew they wanted to move, and I made sure they had enough. I skewed by income so they could afford the mortgage, and I also picked that they were driving minivans, and we got 100 of them to come to the house.
So Seth, if I could real quick, so I follow what you're saying because I've had you do that for me before, but for the folks on the phone here, I want to give them an example. So what that would mean is, let's say they had a spouse or a friend or a relative or neighbor who was an engineer, and they helped an engineer buy their first duplex. What they could do is go on to Facebook, and there's screens you pull down, and you can find all these characteristics, all these
I'm going to
similarities.
show them to you.
Excellent. So they can find in all the engineers, just like their neighbor who want to buy. Awesome. Okay, cool. I'll back to you.
That is a perfect segue. We're getting exactly there.
Okay.
There are 7 different types of ads you need to run on Facebook. 4 of them are the same. You're just going to run them to different markets. So we call them a cheap like ad, because if you have a fan page for your real estate business, you'll notice if you put a post out and you have 1,000 fans, Facebook will say like 2 people saw your post. And the reason they're only letting 2 people see it, that's your organic reach, is because they want you to pay to play. They won't show the other 98 people unless you pay them to advertise. So you want to build up your fan base as much as you can, so that when you advertise to them, it's cheaper to advertise to your fans than it is to advertise to strangers. So you want to run those cheap like ads in front of your customer email list if you've got one, in front of your customers' friends, because you can advertise to all of their friends in the same town. Birds of a feather flock together. You want to run ads in front of your lookalike audience, which is your clones, according to Facebook, of your customer. And then you can define who you want your ideal customer to be. So let's say you didn't have any of those lists. You didn't have any of the first 3. You could still say, I want every engineer in Boston who makes X amount of money, et cetera, not examples. And you could run ads to those people. So you want to get them to like your page first, then an engagement with your post. That's a like or a comment or a share. You want to get people talking about you. Then you can run an offer ad like come see my property, or you could run an ad like click to my website and see the property, or fill out a credit application, or wherever you want to take them.
Yep.
So let's talk about the different types of ads you can run, and then I'll show you the exact screens of that credit card data and probably freak you out a little bit in terms of the invasion of your privacy. But the good news is you get to use this working for you as opposed to against you now. So the 3 different types of ads are sidebar ads, called marketplace ads. I'm going to show you each one. A page post ad and a video ad. So on your desktop news feed, if you look at what you see my arrows pointing to, the sidebar page post ads are off to the right. The marketplace sidebar ad is off to the right bottom. So this one for my friend Brad Martineau is an ad on the side, and these are ads advertising page posts that they're promoting their post on the right-hand side. Don't ever do either of these ads. They're a waste of money, because 80% of Facebook users right now are checking Facebook solely on their cell phones, which means on your cell phone the right-hand side doesn't exist. So Facebook isn't stupid. Once they saw that everybody was going mobile, they still offer marketplace ads for people on desktops, but they came up with page post ads instead, which turned out to be a much better deal. Because this is an example of a page post ad we did for Jack Canfield, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, who I'm sure you've heard of, best-selling book of all time. But look at the difference. So if I look at this little page post ad, it takes up like 1 sentence. And I get a little picture in 1 sentence. But if I do a page post ad, look at all the real estate I get. And I could actually write a couple more sentences. I get a big picture that I can put some text in. I get a whole lot more real estate. On a smartphone, it takes up almost a whole screen to scroll by it. You know real estate's all about location, location, location if you're on this call. The location you want to be in is the news feed, and you want to take up as much of that real estate as you can, and it doesn't cost any more money. So why not? So you talked about the targeting. I talked about the targeting. Let's show you some of the targeting. So for example, I can go, if I start at the top left, 3 of the credit card processors, and there are more, are called Axiom, Data Logic, and Epsilon. And if I click on each one, there's these drop-down menus that keep going and going and going and going. And you can have a whole lot of fun looking through all the drop-down menus, and I'm not going to go through them all because it would take days to show you everything. But for example, if I go to home, I can see, is it a single-family home or a multi-family home or an apartment? Home market value, I can see imported from Zillow how much it, now we all know Zillow's not 100% accurate, I know, but you can see how much is the house worth. You can see, are they a homeowner or a renter? If they, how long have they lived there? I can also see what job they have. So this is listing some job roles, but you can literally type in a title and you can get every engineer or every CEO or every small business owner in whatever geographic area you're looking for. So for example, this particular campaign was one we did that was global. These were medical professionals who were buying stuff from Tony Robbins, and my client wanted to sell them on a make your medical practice better business seminar. You can see what kind of car they drive. I can see when they bought it. So did they buy it 0 to 6 months ago, 13 to 24, 25 to 36? Have they bought parts for their car, which means they're trying to fix it themselves, or do they take their car in for service? There's a million categories. I can see what type of frozen food they buy at the grocery store. Do they buy frozen fish? Do they buy ice cream? Do they buy frozen meat? Do they buy frozen seafood? I can see, do they buy what type of health and beauty products they are buying. Are they buying makeup? Are they buying perfume? I can see what type of health food they buy. It just keeps going and going and going. Do they drive a car or a motorcycle? Is it new or used? I can see what kind of cleaning supplies they buy for their house. I can see, do they have pets? You might care about this because you may want tenants. You may be a pet-friendly landlord, or you may not be. So then you care if they're buying cat food or dog food. You may want to exclude those people if you don't want pets in your building. I mean, I can see what kind of soup. Are they buying Campbell's soup? Are they buying Mr. Chunky? I don't even know. I'm not a soup guy. I can see if they're buying Fritos or Hershey's. It literally, each one of these has drop down after drop down after drop down of all of the data you can get to literally build the perfect customer avatar of who you would want to either buy your property, sell a property, or live in it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I've one of the things that people could do on the webinar tonight, because they work with investors, is you can target. This is what freaks me out about this, is all this information is out there, and it's behavioral patterns based on purchasing habits. So you can get very, very precise, drill down, and you're only going to get the exact precise people that you want to get. And it ties into the marketing I teach them to do in the classroom. But then you give them, now you know what to give them. You can give them something that's valuable, like a free report on foreclosures in the area, free report on rentals. It's just amazing. Yeah, there you go.
You got it. You're preaching to the choir, of course.
Yep.
So the better you target your market, the better results you're going to get, and the cheaper you're going to get them, and the higher your return on your investment is going to be, which is, getting a high ROI is all about what Gary teaches you. So this is one of the best ways to get the right people in front of what you want, is pick the right people and eliminate the waste. Don't bother advertising to the people who don't match your criteria, because now you don't have to.
Right.
So I hope you'll be our next success story. I hope you'll go do this, because if all it does for you is finally get Facebook generating actual leads for you, then obviously it's worth it. We also, I know you wanted to, I know we don't have time tonight, but there'll be a future webinar where we teach you how we use our podcasting to get you in front of your dream referral sources and prospects, and get a book done so you're an author without you having to write it, and get you new buyers and sellers. So before we're going to open it up for Q&A in a minute, because I know there are lots and lots of questions, but I'm going to leave you with this. If you'd like a free download of my new book, Podcast Marketing Magic, and access to a live training webinar where I walk you through how we use our podcasting book service to get you more business than you can ever imagine, all you have to do is go to ultimatemarketingmagician.com and sign up. It's free. If you want to see the programs that we're already doing for real estate folks, whether you're a realtor or an investor or both, if you go to ultimatemarketingmagician.com/real estate, they are there. I'll warn you, we're probably more expensive than a lot of the other places in the industry, but we're also using this data in a way that, as far as I can tell, I've done webinars for and spoken in front of tens of thousands of folks in the real estate industry, and I can't find anyone else who's doing it the way we're doing it. So we are premium priced because it's a lot of manual labor to go build all the target market of all those right people. But as Gary can attest, and I can, and any of our clients will tell you, it works way better than anything else. So I'm going to take a breath and have a quick sip of water and let Gary type in all your questions, and let's fire away, and let's help you out.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I brought my panel back over so I can look for questions here. And okay, here's the first one. Thank you, Seth, for being here. I always knew Facebook was could be a powerful tool. I always knew Facebook could be a powerful tool, and been doing I'm friending people manually, and I'm posting things I think could be of interest, and I've grown my likes. More people like me. Okay, so
Awesome.
So question here is this: I see that there's more to it than I was aware of. Is there a way to? Here's the question. I'm just kind of ad-libbing. Can you walk through an example of how I would approach? I'm sorry, they're only getting one line at a time, Seth. That's why it's hard to read this.
It's all right. No problem. We got time.
Is there a way to show an example, or even describe it, or even if you have it on another slide or something, of something we did for another realtor? So I don't know if there's something we can show them, Seth, like offering a free report. Now remember, guys, Seth does this, I'm sure, for a lot of other agents, but typically they're going to be the owner-occupied agents, so they're going to have a different type of spin on things. They're going after like Seth did with his own personal home. They're looking for a specific type of buyer, age 27 to 39, with 2 to 3 children who drive a minivan and like the local school page. I don't know if Seth, and maybe even if you had that, even though it's not an investor direct, it might give them.
I'm working on it. I'm going to pull up. It's not on the slide, but I'm going to pull up an actual Facebook ad.
Okay.
From an account and show it to you.
Okay. And while you're doing that, next one is how do you buy the page post ads? Well, let me show you what you're going to show them, Seth, and then we'll get to the next question.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay. So this is actually, you might know Margaret Kim. Well, she's now Margaret Wright.
Yeah. I know her. Chicago.
Okay. So this is stuff we do. She is the flip chick. So this is an ad we did for her. Learn how to leverage the flip and flow formula for financial freedom. We got 163 people to her website for $122, so about 75 cents a click. Let me see if I can back up and find you an audience. All right, so we were going in front of people who were buying stuff from real estate investment associations, if they were paying dues, if they were buying books related to real estate investing or flipping houses, and if they were in Chicago, and if they were women, because she's the flip chick and she wants other women to learn how to flip houses. So that would be an example in the industry, but let me give you, what, let's see if we can build one. Let's do one right now. Let's make one. So I'm in Facebook Ad Manager. I'm going to make up a pretend ad right now, if it'll let me, because, I'm in an account that's been shut down. Facebook does that sometimes. All right, so it's not going to be an actual, here, I'll do one for Mark Harris, an event that you saw me speak at. But it's going to be a real estate ad, so hang on one second. So here, this is how you would pick data. So we'll build one, and you can ask me other questions that come in while I build this as it loads.
Well, while that's that, the next question was how do you buy page post ads? And that's probably going to be part of what you're showing them here because I think that comes
Yep,
up.
this is a
Okay,
page post engagement ad that I'm doing right now.
awesome. Okay.
So let's say I'll pick, so if we're not doing owner occupied, am I looking for investors to buy property with me and I'm pretending I'm a real estate agent? Is that the exercise you want me to do?
Yeah, let's do that. And you can,
Okay.
focus. Yeah. Okay.
All right, so I'm not going to mess around with age or geography right now. That's pretty easy. You could just type in, I want Chicago or, my suburb. I could go Williamsville. You can pick by zip code. You can draw a radius around a location. But here, let's go. So let's pretend, all right, we mentioned you can target what employer they work for. You mentioned an engineer. So let's go find engineers. I'm going to type in engineers. All right, do I want engineers or engineer technician or engineering chief engineer, site engineer, software engineer? We'll just leave it straight engineers, but you get the idea.
Okay.
So now there are 130,000 engineers in the US that at least Facebook knows they're engineers. There's probably more than that, but this is how many Facebook has data on. So then let's say I care about how much money they make. Let's say I want them to invest in property with me. So let's say over 150 grand or more.
Okay.
All right. If I pick 150 grand plus, I now have 7,800 engineers who make 150 grand or more. Again, this is only the data Facebook has. There obviously are more in the country.
Mm-hmm.
That is. Then let's go down. So this is where you see food and drink, sports and technology, hobbies, activities. Let's say I want people, I want them already interested in investing in real estate because that'll make my job easier, right? As opposed to convincing them.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go find Robert Kiyosaki. I want people getting stuff from Rich Dad Poor Dad. Maybe Donald Trump is more political now, so I don't know if that would necessarily work, but you could test it. See, Facebook will give you suggestions because they want you to buy more ads. So they will do some of your research for you. I could pick passive income, Sharon Lechter, who co-wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad. You get the idea.
Mm-hmm.
I can go down and then say, oh, I care what kind of car do they travel, residential profile. This is really, really cool. Are they likely to move? Are they a new mover? As in, have they moved in the last 6 months? Are they a recent home buyer? A recent mortgage borrower? So again, each drop down keeps going. Length of residence. Do I care how long they live where they live? Seasonal and events. Are they into professional football? Are they into rugby? Are they into big college football? That might not matter, obviously, to you, but I'm just giving you examples of some of the data you could. Do they subscribe to satellite TV? You can find out when their auto insurance renews. You can, and these keep going and going and going, but you sort of get the idea. I then specify my daily budget. Let's say I want to spend $5 a day, and I want post engagement, which means someone's going to like or comment or share my post. I can let Facebook choose how much I will pay, or I can specify. I'm going to tell you you want to specify because Facebook is going to spend more money than you want. But maybe I'll specify, I'll start with 20 cents an engagement. And then I have to pick a post that I want to engage, that I want to boost. And at the moment, it's this documentary from Jeff Roldan because I'm on Mark's Facebook page. And then remember, we don't want desktop right-hand column. Nobody uses, 80% of people are on mobile, so I remove that. So now I just want desktop news feed and mobile. And then obviously this would be a post from your page about, let's say, real estate. And then I would just hit place order and I would be good. Start running. And this is the basic. It's a lot more advanced than this, and there's a lot more data you can get, but this is the basic idea.
Yep. So the bottom line is when you start working with investors, guys, and you start to identify patterns, I would say starting with vocation, like teachers or engineers or dentists or policemen, what have you, you start to identify habits and behavioral patterns. You realize, hey, most of these guys are reading books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or Think and Grow Rich, or
Yep.
what have you. So you can zero in on that type of stuff.
2.6 million people nationwide have expressed an interest in Think and Grow Rich.
Yep. So you can then target only the people that are most likely to want what you have, which is helping them buy and sell investment real estate. So that was Russell. So for your question, Russell, Seth just showed you how to go about that and how to set your budget at the end. And
there is a more advanced software program that lets you access a whole lot more data than I could show you here, called Facebook Power Editor, but we don't have time to go into that one. That's an advanced, like 3-hour level course.
Right, and I actually remember that because that's where you get access to like credit card data,
Yes.
in a lot more level detail. Okay, let's see. Susan says, okay, where do I find the partner categories from the credit cards to target my perfect audience? So I think that's what I just was talking about. Is that right, Seth?
Yeah, that's in Power Editor. Power Editor is free from Facebook. You just have to be using Google Chrome. For some reason, it only works in Google Chrome. Here, let's go. Let's cancel this campaign.
Okay.
Changes will be lost. I'm going back. Again, this is an old Facebook account. That's why it got flagged before they changed their terms of service. Hang on. Let me get back. So I will go. Oh, there's my grandfather from World War II.
Oh, cool.
Sorry, we're in my newsfeed. All right, so I go into Ads Manager, and then I'm going up here. There's something called Power Editor. So I switch over to Power Editor, and if you don't have Power Editor, you have to download it and install it on Google Chrome. It doesn't cost anything because Facebook wants to sell you more ads. I'm going to download the last 13 months because otherwise we'll be here all day. You can now advertise on Instagram with Facebook, but that's, again, a whole nother class. As you can see, I've got thousands and thousands and thousands of ads running, so it's going to take a little while.
Well, that's okay. And while
in here is where the rest of the data is.
Okay. And while we're waiting on that, way we can show Susan, everyone else, what that looks like. Let's see. This is from Elizabeth. Hi, would it be a good idea to use our personal Facebook page, or should we open a new business page? What do you think would be more successful?
Okay, there are very specific rules on that. That's a great question. Mm-hmm. So every fan page for a business has to be connected to a person because Facebook wants to make sure you're not creating fake pages. So your personal friends never have to see it. They don't have to know it exists, but it has to be tied to your personal account. So okay. Yes, it would be you cannot run ads in your personal account. You can only run ads to a fan page, so you have to create a separate fan page for your real estate investment business. We even, for houses that we sell for agents of ours, or investors of ours, we will create a separate fan page for every house. Even if it's to get tenants, we will create a separate fan page for each listing and draw traffic that way to that page.
Right. And then what you can do is, let's say you have your personal Facebook page. Let's say you've got thousands of friends, and you're just you just created your first fan page. Toronto, Ontario investor group for single moms, for example, okay? Or something like that. That may sound kind of crazy, but the bottom line is you can post, you can do posts there and say, hey guys, I got a free report on single moms who want to invest in real estate. Come visit my fan page. I mean, I'm just ad-libbing here, but is that the kind of thing that they could do?
You could post that on your personal page to drive them to engage with your fan page if they're good prospects for it, yes.
Okay, excellent. Let's see. Sherry says, could you show the address again to get your new book and webinar?
And, of course. Thank you so much.
Okay.
It's ultimatemarketingmagician.com is for the book and the webinar. And if you want to see what we offer real estate folks, it's ultimatemarketingmagician.com/real estate.
Okay. Here's another question. What do you do if Facebook shuts down your page? Well, that's a good
I've
one.
had that. As you can see, my one of the account I'm showing you is my own personal one and has been shut down. And I've had, I think we're up to 4 accounts of ours that have been shut down, and quite a few for clients. Um, I will tell you this, but legally I cannot tell you this. So what you do then is you start a new account and you become an admin of the old fan page, and as long as you use a new credit card, a different credit card number, you can start right back up again. So, for example, my COO, his name is Bruce. Well, when the account under his name got shut down, we opened a new account under the name of Bryce, so it's sort of similar to the name on his credit card, but because they follow credit cards. So, for example, I had this account shut down. I can't go open another account with the same credit card because Facebook will shut it down in a day because they'll say that credit card was flagged. So you've got to have a different credit card to create a different account. So that is your workaround, even though Facebook says don't do that. It's the only way to pull it off. I mean, I've had clients who were we were managing $1 million a month in ad spend on Facebook, and Facebook turned them down and said, we no longer want your money. And I said, you're an ad agency and you're turning down a $12 million a year account? That's kind of stupid. So we set up a second Facebook account for them with a second credit card so that they could keep advertising.
Interesting. Okay. Okay, here's a good one
and
from.
I also shorted Facebook stock, but that's not investment advice.
Okay. Here's this from Dave Gambersini up from Bedford, New Hampshire. Hi, Dave. And Dave asks, is the term boost different for building an ad versus boosting an ad, which Seth said never do? So I guess what's the difference between boost and boosting, I guess is what he's asking.
Okay, so here I will show you. So if I go to my page, facebook.com/ultimate marketing magician, which you should all be fans of, by the way. If I go here, okay, so this little blue button that says boost post, that's what I'm telling you not to hit.
Gotcha.
Because if I hit it, Facebook is going to say, do I want to boost people who like my page? But that's everybody who likes my page. There's no targeting. Everybody who likes, even when they let me choose targeting, it's not too much. As you can see, there's like nothing there. So Facebook never hit the boost post button. Do an ads manager a page post engagement ad instead, and then you can micro-target that post to exactly who you want to see it.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So is that it? You understand that, Dave? If you could just type in a quick yes or no. Okay. All right. This is Emily. Hi, Emily. Emily is from near Baltimore, Maryland. Okay. There is also a likely to invest behavior. Yes. So she's asking, I think she's saying on Facebook, there's a category for people likely to invest. And I
Correct. You can also see in that subcategory, there are also what their investable assets are. So you can pick people who have $100,000 in the bank or people who have $1 million in the bank or anywhere in between.
How about that for helping you pre-qualify people, guys?
Exactly. That's how we got all those people to your apartment building who could afford it.
Yeah.
Was because you said it was like 1.4 million. So we made sure everybody had at least $1 million who we drove to your website that we built for that particular property.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. So, okay, here's Susan. Okay, do I then pay for only the click-throughs even though I send to thousands of people?
Yes. So if you are doing a click-to website ad, it doesn't matter if 1 million people see it. If none of them do anything, it's free. You only pay for the people who click and go to your site or go to your page or go to wherever. So that's part of the beauty of this is there's no waste in your budget. We've actually run ads for health clubs in front of people, in front of the member list, saying, did you get your workout in today? And there's no call to action. It doesn't say click here. It just says, did you get your work in today? So nobody clicks on it, so it costs nothing, so it's free branding, and the health club is showing up in front of their newsfeed every other, 3 days a week saying, get your workout in, and in less than a month, the amount of repeat workouts people did was like tripled because they kept getting reminded to go work out.
Right. And then they show up at the gym where
their card.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay.
Right. I'm not saying that would work for real estate.
Yeah.
Did you get your mortgage in today? I don't know, but you get the idea. Yeah, you only pay for the people who click or the people who like your page or the people who engage with your post by like commenting or sharing or something.
Well, what I would say is, working with investors, I said, hey, have you guys are you guys keeping up with the listings I'm sending you, or you're doing the doing your
Yes, you
analysis,
could
or you're doing
remind
your
them.
yeah.
Go check the list I emailed you. Yeah, you could do it that way. That would work.
Yeah. Okay, this is from Tim Martin. Okay, Tim Martin says or asks, what a good program to use to modify your page. I think what he's saying, there's some missing words there. What is a good program to use to modify your page? I think he's wondering if there's a way to actually maybe customize your Facebook page, I guess is what he's saying. What is a good
You can
program?
do all of that inside of Facebook. The only thing that you need something like, so for example, this tab across the top of my page.
Hmm.
If you notice, you can manage what tabs show up, but if I go to lead pages, is one of the software programs we use to add tabs to Facebook, you will see I have a lead page, a squeeze page inside of Facebook, and the person opts in inside of Facebook. And presumably the whole reason behind that was if we advertised and didn't take them to our website, if we let them stay on Facebook, presumably Facebook would charge less per click. That was the method, that was the reasoning behind it, because they stayed on Facebook. Facebook could say, listen, the average person is now on Facebook 21 minutes a day, so we're worth more money. Depending on the market, that sometimes is true. Sometimes your clicks are cheaper if you keep them inside of Facebook. But however, in this particular case, it cost me more money to drive them to the Facebook squeeze page than it does to drive them off Facebook. So every market, every niche is different. You just have to test to find out which one works better and cheaper.
Right. And the good thing of Facebook is you can test on a very small scale without spending a whole lot of money to find out what works the best, and then you increase your ad budget, you know?
Yeah, I
So,
mean, I have dentists where, they might spend $200 or $300 a month in Facebook ads, but they're getting, $30,000 Invisalign procedures out of it. So,
right.
and you guys obviously in the real estate space, your transaction value is really high. If you're a real estate agent, your commissions are a nice chunk of change. If you're an investor and you're selling or buying a property or getting tenants, those are worth a heck of a lot.
That's right.
So to be able to get them for essentially pennies on the dollar, or tenths of a pennies on the dollar is like printing money.
Right. Yep. And I here's a question. Sherry says, I have a Mac. Does that make a difference?
No, because half of my staff, it's funny, I have an iPad, I have an iPhone, and I have a PC. And my COO has a PC, and everyone who works for me under the age of 35 has a Mac. So no,
Okay.
it does not matter. They all work on Macs.
Okay. Okay.
As
Let's
long
see.
as you get Google Chrome on your Mac, you're fine.
All right. This is Ann Gephardt. The video showed up. Can we review this again? I'm not sure. Well, and actually, Ann, what we do is all these get recorded. So tonight when we're done, I have to download it and then upload it back to the webinar system, and everybody will get a recording of this. And Seth, I'm going to give Seth a recording too. Okay, so
Yeah, and then you can watch it in slow motion and pause me and slow me down so that you can. I know I went through a lot really fast so that you can keep up.
yeah,
And obviously, if you sign up on our website for the free book and the free training webinar, you'll then have my email address and you can email me questions.
yeah. And I would do that, guys. I mean, it's free material. You'll learn more. The more you learn, I mean, obviously, I know Seth, you know me. I constantly read and take classes and learn to study myself.
Me
Susan
too.
Susan says, "What is a fan page?" And I think you actually showed one because you went to your personal site, and
Yes.
there you go.
Okay, so facebook.com/ultimate marketing magician is my fan page.
Hmm.
My personal account is facebook.com/Seth and Greene. So this is my personal news feed, and what's showing up is my wife's friend Kara just had a baby.
Okay.
And so that's the baby. And there's my wife's comments, and this is my client Adam, who is an awesome magician, and Joel Kahn wants me to come hang out with him in Vegas. So that is my personal page as a Facebook user. The
Okay.
fan page would be Ultimate Marketing Magician, and there you would learn about my business. Or you could have one for your property that you're listing or your real estate investing business.
Right. Okay. And here's
So,
Jerry.
for example, here's one
Oh,
for a
sorry.
house. Home on Martha Street. They need some better pictures.
They put a shed up there on the. Oh my gosh. That's.
Right, but they have 446 likes.
Holy smokes.
And there's pictures of the inside of the house. It's not. I don't know that I'd buy that house, but that's a picture of a house.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's a fan page.
It just goes to show you, even when they put a not so good picture up, they still get all those
Yeah,
hits.
they still got 446 people to like it, and I'm sure I got to be able to get at least one to make an offer.
Right. Okay, this is Jerry. Our Facebook fan page and Facebook business page interchangeable?
Yes, they're
Interchangeable
pretty
term.
much. They're the
Yeah.
same thing.
Okay, Scott's asking, Scott Mosley. Hey, Scott, how you doing, buddy? Just give me the short answer. Did he recommend business page or personal page on Facebook? The audio cut out. Oh, sorry about that.
You have to have every business or person fan page has to tie to a person. So you're not going to promote your real estate stuff through your personal page. You're going to promote it on your fan page or your business page because that's where Ads Manager, where all this data stuff lives. You can't run ads to a personal Facebook account. You have to run them to a fan page or a business page.
Okay. All right. This is Ariana. Hi, Ariana. Why does Facebook shut your page down? I guess that's a general question. Why? Like,
Because they're evil bastards.
Oh,
Because they have changed it drives me nuts. They have changed their terms of service so much in the last 6 months alone, in terms of being so much more restrictive in terms of what you're allowed to advertise, what you can and can't say, what images you're allowed to use. They say it's because they're trying to improve the user experience. And I don't necessarily buy that. There now is a dangerous button where if there's an ad, you can go up here, oh, this is on my post, so you can't do it. But there's now a button where people can click that an ad was spam and that they shouldn't see it and that it's not relevant to them. And if a couple people click that, they'll shut your page down. So you have to really, really follow the rules. We check their terms of service website like every week because they keep changing stuff to make sure that we don't accidentally get one of our clients' accounts shut down.
right.
Because it's happened.
Well, I know for me personally, and obviously, I've used Facebook in the past, and we're going to start using it again starting well, very soon.
You already are. We already started for you.
So what I learned is it's just like any other relationship. You should be responsible with how you're communicating with your client base, and you want to always give them meaningful content and something that really is beneficial to them. And if you do that, which is common sense, you won't have a problem. It's people who abuse
Right. If you spam them all the time going buy, 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 they start clicking that button and you need to start a new account with a new credit card sooner or later.
Right. Okay, here's from Donna. Hi, Donna. Donna says, I know this is going to be hard one to answer, but how many people do you think $5 a day can reach?
Every market is different.
Yeah.
Every city is different. There's no good answer to that because what $5 a day could reach you in Buffalo is nothing, is much bigger than what $5 a day could get you, let's say, in Manhattan.
Right. Now, to qualify that too, though, I would say the more finite that the finer
Right.
you know what I'm saying, the smaller your group that you're targeting based on the behavioral patterns. They bought a duplex, they read Wall Street Journal, they just bought
Yep.
Robert Kiyosaki's book.
Yep.
Your return on investment goes way up. $5 you can
Right, because you're not wasting money. Although I would love to see you spend more than $5 a day to get better results, but I totally understand the question. And we've got clients who started at $5 a day and have now, because of the profits they made, are now spending $500 a day. And I hope you get to that point at sometime in the future.
Yep. Well,
Time for a couple quick more because I'm supposed to go. I'm on the East Coast and I got to go get my kids to bed. So let's do 3 more.
Oh, sorry. Okay, here's Tim Martin. Good question. Hi, Tim. I am told video ads are better. What is your take on this? Video ads on Facebook.
Video ads are absolutely working really well on Facebook right now. You advertise per person who watches your video,
Hmm.
and we are getting video views 2 cents, 5 cents, 7 cents. So it's an incredibly cheap way to get your video message out there. However, don't let that fool you. It's really important that the video is good. Otherwise, you get a lot of people to see something and not take any action.
Right.
And so the video has to be done well, which obviously, we can help you with. Um, and you ultimately want to have a good call to action, whether it's that free report Gary talked about or whether you're driving them somewhere. So video ads are working really well because Facebook is now trying to compete with YouTube.
Right.
So I am a huge fan of Facebook video ads as long as they're done well.
Right. Okay, let's do two more. That was
Two
the
more.
first. This is, let's see. How would you say Facebook marketing results compare with Google pay-per-click effectiveness?
Facebook is much cheaper than Google, usually. And Facebook allows you to target in ways like based on that purchase data that Google does not. So you can target your ad more and it will cost you less. The difference is on Google, someone is hypothetically typing in a search term and your ad is showing up on that search term. So I'll give you a comparison. We represent a local Mediterranean restaurant. So we're running Google ads for them. So if someone types in Mediterranean restaurant Buffalo, they show up. We are also running Facebook ads in front of people who like Mediterranean food in the area. And that's not based on a search, that's based on a purchase. So they might not be looking for a Mediterranean restaurant right now, but they've gone to one recently, so I want to get them to come to my client. So one is they're searching you out, so it's going to cost more, but you can't target it on too much other than the search term, whereas in Facebook, they're not searching for you, but you're targeting based on behavior. So they're different. If you can afford to do both, go for it. Google now, because it's been around for so long, is usually a lot more expensive. Facebook may get to that point in the next 10 years, but again, this is the ground floor, so that hasn't been too much of an issue.
Okay. All right, one more from Susan, and I want to just take a minute when we're done, Seth, just to do a proper thank you here. But Susan's questions first is, so how do you drive people to the open house and sell it that day? She must be referring to when you sold your house, I think is what she's referring to maybe.
Ran ads with 5 or 6 pictures of the house rotating, with information about the house and what the deal was and when it was going to happen. And we did it as an event on the open house. The ads were event response ads, so we only paid for people who said they were coming, and we target them again based on that data I talked to you about, and that's how we filled the open house.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, too, I know that's a handful, and I understand what you say because you've actually done it for me. But guys, what I would suggest is this: we could go on and on here, and I just want to thank Seth on behalf of everybody because Seth, I know you're obviously a high demand person. I'm so lucky I met you that day years ago, and it's just one of those, I call them Forrest Gump moments. I just happened to be at the right place at the right time, and for you to be able to do this and do it completely free and offer all this advice is just. I don't know how to thank you, and I think everybody here, just based on the questions, and I've seen a couple thank yous already. People are already, they're rolling it out. Thank you, Seth. Thank you, Seth. So, Seth, I want to make sure people have your website here, theultimatemarketingmagician.com. They can get the book there they can see examples of real estate marketing. They can get the book on real estate marketing. But more importantly, can they get can they email you once they do that? How do they, some of these folks are going to want to get a hold of you because I can just see it in their questions here, Oh, you still there?
Your audio is cutting out, but I think what you're asking is, can they email me? Absolutely. Here, from there. There's my email. It is seth@marketdominationprogram.com. It is now on the screen.
Okay. And let me ask you a big favor here. You mentioned earlier something about podcasts, and I know that you've done that for me also. Would you be willing to come back in, say, December next month and do one of these on podcasts? I know you're busy. I figured what that'd be. If I don't ask worst you could say is no. I figure if I don't ask, the answer is automatically no. So hopefully, I'm not overstepping my bounds here.
Of course, I'd be happy to. We are absolutely crushing it with podcasting in the real estate investing space. Your folks would get a ton out of it. We'll again walk you through exactly how we do it so you can do it yourself. Yeah, I would love to. This has been a lot of fun. I love serving your people. I'd be happy to.
Good. Well, you should see all the thank yous that are rolling in. So,
Awesome.
uh,
Well, my pleasure.
all right. Well, listen, guys, everybody have a wonderful night. God bless you. God bless you, Seth, and your family and your beautiful children. And I look forward to seeing you again sometime here in the near future.
You will. Thank you so much, everybody.
And if you could, Seth, I think you've got to return, make me presenter or something like that so I can hit the,
Oh, yep. I've got to toss the screen back to you.
and then I'll,
Change presenter to Gary.
and then
Yes,
I'll
I want to make Gary the presenter. There you go.
show my screen and I'll hit the stop button, stop recording. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.